What's up guys, welcome back to Paul's Hardware. This is Probing Paul, my monthly Q&A series, and today I'm going to answer a bunch of random questions that you guys have asked, but I'm going to start with I think the most important question that people are asking right now when it comes to PC gaming and building computers for PC gaming and the lack of graphics cards that are available, and that is, are we just screwed?
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by MSI's MPG Series Z590 motherboards built for Intel 11th Gen core processors. Whether you prefer the blacked out look of the Gaming Plus, the Wi-Fi 6E support of the Edge Wi-Fi, or the extra power for overclocking provided by the Z590 Force or the Carbon Wi-Fi, every board is packed with features like 2.5 gig LAN, 20 gigabit USB 3.2, Audio Boost 5, premium VRM cooling, and of course PCI Express Gen 4 support with supplemental PCIe power. RGB2? Yes, RGB2. Click the sponsor link in the description for more on the MPG Z590 motherboards from MSI.
So before I dive into the questions, which should all be available via timestamps in the video's description, a couple things. First, all the questions I'm answering were asked in last month's Probing Paul, or the last episode of Probing Paul. Sometimes I do these once a month, sometimes more frequently, and you can see all the way back to the older episodes. There's a Probing Paul playlist as well if you want to check out all of the times I have been probed. And of course, if you have a question for me to answer next time, leave that in the comment section down below. Let's get back to that first question though, and I'm representing it here with Ben Goodchild's comment, which is actually from not a Probing Paul video, but it still counts, don't worry. He says he's been waiting to build a PC for 5 years as he went through his undergrad studies. Now all this happened, specifically the GPU shortage, so he'll probably be waiting a while longer, and I've heard this echoed by many different people. Joe Kostka over on Twitter also asked me if the GPU or tech shortage has been bad for myself as well, and other tech YouTubers, and the answer there would be, oh my gosh, totally yes it has. I've dealt with my own struggles over the past year or so, as I imagine you have too, with the global pandemic and other things that have been causing us distress, but it is no secret that a lot of my content is focused around teaching you guys to build computers, and here are parts lists, or here's me building a computer, and if you guys can't go out and buy those parts and assemble the computer yourself, you're probably going to be less interested in that type of content. And yes, my view counts have been declining. If you look at a year ago or 2 years ago, they have dropped down. That said, there are other contributing factors there, and I think one of the things that I can do to get more views and more interest and just generally more momentum, I think, for my channel is to post more regularly, and to that end I've been trying to get back to posting 3 videos a week, which was my MO, and honestly just hitting that has been a challenge for me because of lots of other personal stuff going on in my life, and I don't want to go too far down that path of what's been causing me challenges lately. I want to get back to what's been causing you guys challenges with building computers, which is just the fact that you can't buy a graphics card, goddammit. So I have a few articles linked in the description. This one's from PC Mag, and it's about them attempting to use a bot to buy graphics cards, and they actually paid 120 bucks for a couple weeks of access to the Stellar bot, which is used by resellers and scalpers and lots of ne'er-do-wells. I do not recommend renting a bot if you need a graphics card, but down at the bottom of this story is a pretty nice list of the current ways that you might get a GPU in spring 2021, but unfortunately they're all somewhat time-consuming and inconvenient. If you live near Micro Center, you can go there and wait in person. That's an option. You can try your luck at the Newegg Shuffle, but luck is involved. You need to be selected in order to make your purchase. And then beyond that, a little bit of advice here about when Best Buy and AMD typically restock their websites, so when you might want to camp out. And then of course you have YouTube channels, Discord servers, and the like from people who are basically running bots that do stock checks and then pop up announcements when stock actually appears. Here's one going on right now from Fix It, Fix It, Fix It, as recommended in the article. Now specifically, I am not recommending any of these actual individual channels that are running the bot services. I'm not saying you shouldn't be browsing feeds like that, I'm just saying I haven't tried them out myself, so I can't really vouch for them personally. And looking more at the broader picture, the information that we have been getting from manufacturers and from sources like TSMC is just not very optimistic when it comes to semiconductor manufacturing, stock, and when GPUs will just be readily available for sale anymore. So for that reason, yes, I have shifted my outlook and my MO and the videos that I'm placing more emphasis on versus the videos I'm placing less emphasis on. I'm also just honestly giving myself permission to spend a little bit less time doing videos in general. That's why I've had more weeks recently where I've produced 2 videos rather than the 3 that I've been aiming for. But I guess to kind of bring it back to that original question, are PC gamers screwed? The stance I've been taking for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so since the shortage started was, you know what? Things are bad right now, but let's sort of hold out till, you know, maybe the spring or maybe the summer or that sort of thing. I'm a little bit more of the opinion now that yes, gamers are pretty screwed at the moment, and that sucks. so we just gotta make do the best we can. So use those lists you have of like your best options for potentially getting a graphics card. The next couple builds I'm gonna do have integrated graphics along with the CPU, so you don't need a discrete graphics card. So I'm looking for other ways to create content that's still interesting, that doesn't rely on that foundational, here's how to build a computer stuff that my channel's kind of built on. I hope it's still good and you guys still like it, but that's what I'm doing for now. And for those of you who are trying to build a gaming PC right now and don't have a graphics card, I can only offer my condolences, my best suggestions for your best option despite the situation. And that's all I got. So I'm gonna set this graphics card aside because it's in my way, and I'm gonna move on to the next question. IHACB says, my favorite tech YouTuber. Thank you so much. That really does mean a lot to me. When is it time to call it quits on a build? I can never seem to stop modding my current PC. So for me, the reason I got into PC building was because you can continually mod your PC, and you can build a functional system right now that you can add to or upgrade or do whatever you want with down the line. So for a lot of people, their PC is constantly a work in process, and it never comes to a final completed state where you can say, my PC is done, I'm going to use it like that for the duration of its lifetime. And besides, when can you actually say a PC has reached the end of its useful life? It happens to all PCs, but I think it varies a lot. There's a lot of contributing factors, so it's hard to say here is when it should actually stop. That said, the PC that I'm about to replace or upgrade, or I'm going to swap the entire system out pretty much and do a new one, is this system, which is my streaming and capture system, which is literally being used to capture this video that I'm recording right now. My most recent work on it was in June of 2019. I added more capture cards to it, so it actually has 3 4K capture cards installed now. But the reason I'm actually swapping the entire system out this time rather than just doing another upgrade is because the core components, the CPU, the motherboard, and I guess to a lesser extent the memory, are what is now, I feel like, holding me back a little bit. It has a 6950X CPU in there, which is Intel's 10-core back when they thought they could charge $1,700 for a 10-core CPU. But the motherboard is still X99, and this system just has a few little quirks to it that have bugged me enough over the years where I'm like, okay, I have better hardware now, higher core count CPUs that are a little bit more up to date. Stuff like more support for USB and PCI Express Gen 4 are all the things that are sort of calling to me saying, hey, this system could use an upgrade and it could be faster. So you should never feel bad that your PC is constantly being upgraded or constantly a work in progress. But if you want an answer from me for your question, I'd say the time to swap and do a new system versus an upgrade of the old system is when those core components need upgrading, specifically your motherboard and CPU. Next question here is from DeadMeat1240. Hey Paul, how do you feel about Newegg's current practice of forcing customers to buy combos if you're lucky enough to get selected to purchase a precious 3080 or 3090? What is this? What is Newegg doing here? This is the Newegg Shuffle for today, and look at this. They've got 3060s, they've got a PlayStation 5, 3070, even 3080s and a 3090, but every single one of them is paired with another item that maybe you didn't actually want to buy. Some of them make a little bit more sense, like a PlayStation DualSense wireless controller paired with a PS5. That makes a little bit of sense, I suppose. A few things to point out though. First off, Newegg has been doing this for a very long time, not just with the Newegg Shuffle. In fact, it's quite common for lots of retailers to discover that they have a very desirable or scarce item in their inventory, and then they're like, hey, we have this other stuff too that, you know, only sells kind of mediocre. Let's pair that with the really hot item and then force people to buy it too. And sure, maybe you wanted a 2560 by 1440 monitor with your RTX 3080, but maybe you already had one of those. Or maybe it's just not the model you wanted. Or maybe you're building an Intel system, so you have no use for a B550 motherboard. And I think I would agree with you that this practice kind of leaves a bad taste in the mouth of the buyer, but also the buyer is probably buying this anyway. All these combos, I guaranteed, still sold anyway. And one of the other things you could look at that also might give you a bad taste in your mouth is just the base prices of even the graphics cards they're selling. Like, this is $550 for an RTX 3060. RTX 3060 is supposed to be $330. Looks like they had a few of them that are all priced at $550. Likewise, the 3070 is going for $780, and that's directly from Newegg. Newegg is making the money, the profit difference there. Good lord, $1,070 for an RTX 3080. So it's become, I feel like, more and more shameless on the parts of the retailers for how much they're charging for graphics cards, and I have mixed feelings about it, because on the one hand, I'm like, no, the retailers shouldn't be doing this. They should be abiding by manufacturer agreements if they have them, or MAP pricing, which I doubt is the case in this situation. For me, what it boils down to is that the market is dictating that people are willing to pay these prices for these cards right now. So either Newegg is going to sell it for that increased price, and then Newegg is going to make the profit in between, or Newegg is going to sell it for the base retail price. A scalper is going to use a bot to buy it, and then the scalper is going to relist it on eBay or some other third-party site, and then the scalper is going to make that extra money, because the price that a retail consumer is paying is probably going to be about the same either way. I guess if you also wanted to be really bitter and cynical, for as much praise as Newegg has gotten for the Newegg Shuffle, because it does ostensibly allow people who want to buy a graphics card the chance to maybe buy a graphics card, they're also totally doing this in order to drive traffic to their website every single day. It resets every single day. That's more people going to the Newegg website, driving more traffic every day because they're joining the Newegg Shuffle. And then they might also happen to see whatever's on the Newegg homepage or other stuff. And then marketing and advertising and sales and e-commerce and profits. And groovy, smashing, yay capitalism, I suppose. To give a more direct answer to your question though, no, I don't like the practice of doing it. Yes, I have seen them do it before, and I totally expect them to continue to do it for the time being. And I guess my final thought about that was looking at the products that Newegg is bundling, at least. They're not horrible, awful, worthless products like you might sometimes see paired up with something like that. They're at least somewhat desirable products, even if they might not be desirable to you or the person buying the card at the time. So someone buying one of those cards would at least maybe be able to resell the motherboard or monitor or whatever else they were forced to buy along with it in order to get a current GPU. Next question here from William Valentine. What content do you tend to enjoy creating the most? I like this question because it allows me to talk about things and like current things that are going on, because right now I like creating content, and the content I enjoy creating the most is probably this kind of thing, where I can get a build project or something like that out here in the garage, and then I can spend a good chunk of the day building or assembling or disassembling or whatever the case may be for whatever project I'm working on. And the days when I can actually sit and do that for an extended period of time and get something done, especially if I'm like, I'm gonna do this today, and then I work on it all day and actually accomplish that goal. That is what I enjoy the most, and going along with some of the other questions I've already answered, that's also the stuff that I feel like is maybe the most edifying to you guys, to people who can't build a system right now, to just, vicariously live through me working on the systems that I'm upgrading or doing other work with. And then with the build projects I'm lining up right now, I'm trying to make them all very purpose-driven, either to have a use here in my home or to be something like, taking graphics cards out of a system I'm not really using to donate to charity. For me, those kinds of videos are kind of differentiated from the videos like this, where I'm sitting here at the desk and talking to you guys, and this is a little bit more of a talking head type video for me. I like these types of videos too, but the reason I'm doing this video, Probing Paul, right now is because I want to get a video done really quickly at the beginning of the work so I can start working on some of those build projects, and also have content to post to my channel on a regular basis, going back to that idea of getting back to 3 videos a week. Here's a question I get pretty often, and I decided to pull it up right now. I actually answered this in the last Probing Paul video, but it was about how I shoot my videos, because apparently they look crisp AF. My gear is listed right here. I have a GH5 with a Metabone speed booster adapter so I can fit a Sigma 18-35 f1.8 lens on there. And then I'm directly capturing to my streaming capture PC that I already showed you via the Magewell Pro 4K capture card. I'm using OBS with X264 encoding. And for most of these talking head type videos, I've been doing 1080-60, and I capture at 11 megabits per second. The GH5 upgrade, actually, apparently I got all the way back in 2017. I feel like it was so much sooner than that, but oh my gosh, it's been like 4 years already. I used the GH4 for quite some time, and then my GH4 broke, and then I got a GH5, and then I got a second GH5, and the reason I like them is because it has a nice, clean HDMI out for capturing directly to a capture card for video. The layout of the buttons as well, and the ease of use, because I've used a Panasonic Lumix camera for quite some time, also means that I haven't had to relearn anything. And functionally for me, just getting the camera set up and running and being able to do that quickly so I can move on to other things is important. I guess one of the other reasons I wanted to answer this question is because I've been using this same setup for quite some time now, and I've considered upgrading here and there, but I keep getting comments like this saying, hey Paul, your videos look so sharp, so I don't really see any need to upgrade for the time being. Or is there? Rex previously with the next question, or I guess pointing something out. There's a lot of pixelation going on in my corner camera in these videos because of the downscaling of the high resolution camera image. If you right click the camera source in the scene, go to Scale Filtering, choose Lanczos, you will get a lot better image quality there. I already did this. Have you guys noticed that my little picture down here in the corner is looking nicer? Let me try. Let's try turning it off. Ooh. Is that even bearable for you guys? Like, it must be a horrible mess down here. But just in case you had noticed before, I want to thank Rex previously for pointing this out and the scale filtering is now set to Lanczos. And hopefully now my probing Paul video is even more sharper and crisper and everything. And thanks to Rex previously, and Rex currently as well. Next question from Adraj Makers. Paul, GN has a new mod mat, that's GamersNexus. You need to review it so you can bond again with Steve. That's a great suggestion, and if you haven't seen my review of the GamersNexus original mod mat, it's titled Disappointing Product from GamersNexus. I appreciate how many people have appreciated this video. I have gone in, I forget when I did this a few months back, and noted that it's a satirical video because apparently Steve gets pretty regularly people coming in and complaining to him that his mod mat sucks specifically because of this video. I definitely put it through its paces though, including the durability test, as you can see here. That was quite thorough. I believe after the original mod mat, they did come out with a mod mat mini, and now there is a new mod mat that's like sharper printing, and I forget what other nice things it has. And I might be interested in something like that, but to be perfectly honest, what I have my sights set on is the GN Bar Runner mat with the PC component design. And I'm gonna say here that I've actually asked Steve for one of these, but it was in an email thread that I think got kind of buried. I know Steve is insanely busy, so I think the email probably just fell through the cracks, but I thought I'd bring it up here, and if you guys have a chance to poke Steve, maybe I'll send him a reminder as well. I did request a GN Bar Runner mat, which I had an idea for a review for. But you know, sometimes these things move along a little slowly, so we'll give it some time and we'll see if that turns out to actually happen. Okay, the villain with the final question for the next Probing Paul. What is your favorite anime series, and do you have a favorite anime video game you enjoy? I saved this question for last, not so I could wow you guys with my encyclopedic knowledge of anime, but actually to point out that I actually don't know much about anime at all. But this is one that I've actually watched all the way through, and I've also discovered that the entire series is just uploaded to YouTube. So I'll post a link to that in the description if you guys are at all interested in checking out Claymore. It's from 2007, and it's been so long since I watched it that I should probably actually watch it again. I remember there's Claire, and there's demons, and there's the claymores who fight the demons who are half demons. Beyond that, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, so I will link to this full collection of all of the episodes in the description. If you guys are looking for some further watching, it's only about 10 hours to go through the entire thing. And then for anime video games, I've probably played a video game that was based on an anime without realizing it, but I don't really have a good answer for you there. I would go back to like Final Fantasy games that I've played. Those are more like JRPGs, not necessarily anime, but that's really the best I got. And that is also the last question, so that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of Probing Paul. Thank you guys for leaving me the questions in the last episode, and of course leave me questions in the comment section down below if you'd like me to answer your question potentially in the next episode. And of course there's other stuff you can do down there too, such as click on the like button if you enjoyed this video. There's links to all the stuff I talked about today, including some of the videos I referenced. And that's all the time I got for this one. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.